Before we jump into the bulk of part 3, what I would like to do first is to go back and fix some mistakes I made in the previous video. Okay, so the first one is the position of these endpoints. As you can see here, the endpoint should be coincident with the one of these horizontal lines, so that the length of this part is 538. Okay, but we have it a little bit lower, so the mistake comes from this one. So we are going to select it and delete it, and then we will add the connect constraint between this endpoint and this one. The second one is really simple to fix. As I explained in the previous video, each of these lines is tangent to 2 cycles. So this one should be tangent to the cycle center around the point 1 and tangent to this cycle. So I guess I made the mistake because here I didn't draw the cycle center around point 1, but here I did. So I thought that this extra line has his place in the drawing, but in this case no, so you have to delete it. This is really a quick fix. And then select the line, grab the endpoint and extend the line. Okay, that was easy, fortunately. Now we are going to keep going, and the goal will be to create this deflector, and we'll add this one, and later when we will build the overall geometry, we will duplicate this component to make this one and this one. Okay, so we have 4 deflectors, so 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, so what we are going to do is to create the geometry for this one and the second one only, and maybe we will have the time to start building section sketches. Okay, so let's get to it. So the first thing we will do is to create this line. As usual, we will use the line tool and just draw a line. What we need is an horizontal line, and as you can see, we cannot have it real horizontal, and this is because we turn off the horizontal or vertical constraints. So we will turn this on again, and then as you can see, there is the vertical horizontal alignment which is appearing near the cursor, and this is to let us know that the line is horizontal. So we click and right click to reset the tool and escape to finish. So we want the line to be coincident to this one, so we will use to connect constraint. We select the endpoint and we want to snap it to this line, so we just select the line, and then you see there is a coincident constraint. Now we want to split this line in 2 parts. Maybe before that we will add a smart dimension, a vertical dimension between this line and this line. So, and then we will input 204,5. Okay, so the line is in place. Now we will split this line in 2 parts, and to do that we will use the split tool in the draw panel. So split, and in the front bar you can read click on an element to split. What we want to split is this line, and we have to select the split point. We will use the endpoint of this one to split it. As you can see, the 2 lines are still fully constrained, and this is because this let me escape. This is because this collinear constraint is automatically inferred, so the lines are still in line, if I may say. We are going to do the same for this one. So we will select again the split tool. We select this line, and point to split should be the intersection, but we can't get it because it is not checked here. So we will check it, and then we will look for the intersection point. Can't seem to find it. Okay, so we click anywhere here, and we have now two segments. Okay, and then we will use the connect tool to connect this endpoint and this one. Okay, we can do the same again. We will connect this endpoint to this endpoint, and then we will add another line from this endpoint to the other one, and we make sure that an horizontal constraint is inferred. Okay, if you don't see these relationship handles, so the collinear, the endpoint, it is because you have this option turned off. So make sure that it is highlighted. Okay, now we are ready to build our first deflector. Okay, so we will pan again and zoom in. To do that, we will use the line tool only to build all the shape. As you will see, it is very easy to do. So the first thing we will do is to select the line tool again. We will start at the end point of this line, so there, a small horizontal line. Then we will go with an angle, and then this line. And what we want to do next is to create an arc. So to do that, we can use this option, because you have this option. This option is the default option, create line, set the creation mode to lines, and this will set the creation mode to arc. So you can click on it, and then you see you have a tangent arc, and then make sure that the arc will be going in the right direction, and make sure it don't snap. Okay, maybe we will turn off this time the horizontal or vertical constraint, so that we will be more at ease. Then we will click to place the endpoint of the arc, and then move up to the endpoint of the first line we created, and then we are done. So just using the line tool, we created this shape. Okay, now we have this constraint which is created, but we won't need it because we don't want these 2 points to be in an horizontal alignment. So we will select the constraint and delete it. In this point, we have an endpoint constraint and a tangent constraint. The endpoint constraint is the little square at the end of the arc and the line, and the tangent constraint is the cycle, as you can see. And you can display constraint using the quick pick. As you move your mouse closer, you have this little icon, a mouse icon near the cursor. So what you can do is just to right click, and you have this quick pick menu pop up, and you have the choice between two selections, either the tangent or the endpoint. Okay, so this was just to introduce you to the quick pick. You can use the same concept here. Select the cycle. For the time being, the line is highlighted, so the quick pick appears, and I have the possibility now to select the cycle or the line. So quick pick is very useful. Okay, so get back on track. Now we have to add some more constraint. As I mentioned before, we have a tangent and a endpoint connect constraint. We will add a tangent constraint between these two. So relate tangent this line and this one, this arc and this line, and then we want these two to be parallel. So parallel, we select this as the reference and we will move this one to adjust, and we are left with a dimension. Okay, so we use smart dimension and then select the arc and we will input 12,5, and there it is. Okay, now the center point of the arc should be coincident with the endpoint of this line. So again, another connect, we select the endpoint and we look for the center point and we can get it. And again, if you can select something, it is maybe because you have the option turn off. So we will turn it on and then select the center point, and there it is. Okay, next you want the endpoint of this line to be on this line. Okay, so we'll use the connect again, which is already active, and we select this endpoint and we select this line. And it might not be clear, but this line seems to me to have the same size as the thickness of the sheet metal component. So we will create another smart dimension for this horizontal line and we will input 12. Okay, good so far, but it's not finished yet. We have to add this cycle, so we will make the arc and the cycle tangent, and this will fully define this geometry. So we will create the cycle by center again, and then use the origin, and we will input 765 as the diameter, and escape to finish the cycle tool. And the last thing we'll have to do to fully define is to select the tangent, make sure we select the arc, and then we will snap it to the big cycle, and there it is. The deflector is in place and fully defined. Okay, let's go for the second one. First we will hide the cycles there, so we will have some room to work on. The second deflector is located somewhere in this area. As we did before, we are going to use the line tool to construct our geometry. So first point, then we drag, place the second point. We'll use the arc option again, and then basically create an oblong shape, and this time I will press the A key on the keyboard and then close, and we have the shape created. Now you see we have an horizontal vertical constraint created, and in this case it is not desirable, so we will select and delete each of them. We will make sure that these two lines are always parallel, so parallel constraints, and then we will add a dimension between the two lines. Okay, we will use the distance between, so this endpoint and this endpoint, and we will change the value to 25. Okay, when you use distance between, make sure that you have the 2-point option selected, because you have horizontal, vertical, 2-point, and use dimension axis as option for the distance between tool. Okay, so make sure you have by 2 points selected, And now this time we will activate the tangent so we can create this dimension. And we select this cycle and this cycle, and then have the distance created, and we will input 130. Okay, now we have to position the deflector. First we'll have to add a tangent relationship to the cycle we previously created, and use tangent between, let's say, this arc and this cycle. And then we will have to position the center point and add another tangent. So we will start by creating a new cycle. The center will be once again the origin, and the diameter will be this value 930. Enter. And right away we'll create another tangent constraint between this one and this one. Okay, as you see, something didn't work properly. The dimension didn't adjust as it should have. We're going to delete it and create a new one between this one and this one, and there it is. Okay, now we have to position the endpoints, the center point, excuse me, of the arc to fully define the geometry. And to do that, we have to create 3 lines. The first line is not really necessary, but we have to do it anyway. The first line is starting from the center point of the arc for the first deflector to the origin, and then the second line should go from the origin to the center point of the first arc of the second deflector, and the 2 lines should be separated by an 76-degree angle, and we will have 14 degrees between the second line and the third line. Okay, so we are just going to draw some line. We are already good at that. So select the center or the endpoint of this line to the origin, and then to the center point of this arc. Okay, and we right click to reset the tool, and we go back to the origin, select the origin, and we will end at the center of this arc. Right click, and there we are. Okay, now we just need to add some angle between. So the first angle, and this will just be a check, is this one. So between the origin, the x-axis, excuse me, and the first line, and the dimension is blue, and the value is 23.5, and this dimension is blue because the line was already fully constrained. So this is just a check, and we see that our geometry is correctly constructed and constrained because we get the same value. Okay, now we will add another dimension, these 2 remaining dimensions, using the same methodology. This will be our origin element, and this will be our measuring, and we change the value to 76. Okay, but we have a problem, because as you can see, the deflector geometry is fully defined, but we haven't yet created this dimension. That means that something is out of place. We have to figure this out. Okay, so we will add the dimension first, angle between this line and this other one. The dimension is blue, obviously it is a driven dimension. So let's check what we did so far. We add this dimension to control the overall length, this other one control the width. So far okay. This tangent constraint control the angular position in conjunction with this one, and the endpoint of this line and the angular value should locate the first arc as well as the endpoint with this angle for the second arc. So everything is properly constrained. I don't see any problem. Maybe one dimension is not correct on the print. Okay, so what we can do to input this value and check the final result is to, instead of having this value driven, we could make one of these value as driven. Okay, so I will use this one, select it, and then you see this padlock icon. This is locking the dimension, so it is a driving dimension. So we will unlock, and then the dimension will become a driven dimension. And as you can see, the dimension is now blue and the shape also blue. Now we can select this angle, and here in the command bar we will click on the padlock to make the dimension driving again. As you can see, the shape becomes black and the dimension red. We'll select the dimension and change the value to 14, and there we are. So far the thickness is okay. We should keep it 25 because, as I guess, it is the same thickness for all the deflector. And we add the choice between keeping this angle or this dimension, but out of blue I choose to modify this dimension. Okay, so you see there is a discrepancy in the print, and this value should not be 130 but instead 143. Okay, maybe it is not like that, because if I want to keep this angle I should change something else. Maybe we could have modified this dimension. I'll never know what was the original intent, but I choose to change this value. Okay, so our second deflector is in place, and before concluding this part we will select these two cycles and move them to the layer for cycles. So move element and move them to the layer cycles, because as you can see the default layer is our active layer, so the cycle were directly created in this layer. Okay, and then we will not forget the dimensions, so we'll move them somewhere like that for this one, and these two will be moved onto this position, and then I will control click to select this one also. Again, layers, move elements, cycles, dimension, and okay. Okay, these construction lines I will move them to the radial lines layers, move element, radial lines. Okay, and the dimension, this one. Okay, maybe we should zoom a little bit. This one. Okay, a little more. This dimension, this one, and this one. Move elements to radial lines, dimension, and okay. So we will keep this geometry and the dimension in the default layer as well as the first deflector. Okay, this concludes the third part of this tutorial. In the fourth part we will start building the profile sketches, and it will also be really interesting. I will introduce new method to access the tools. So instead of moving each time to the ribbon bar To select a tool, we will use the radial menu. Okay, hope to see you then, and thanks for watching.